Hello everyone, this is Debabrata once again, and today I'm planning to show you a few examples of how to pass an object, and obviously what is the benefit if we pass the object. Okay, so obviously you will not be able to understand what I'm trying to say, but let's explore this topic today, passing objects. So it is an important topic in terms of object-oriented programming, and today we will also explore few of the topics like call by value, call by reference, these keywords. So these are some interview questions as well. So I'm just highlighting that. And we will explore 5 different topics, small topics. As a prerequisite, nothing much, just basic knowledge of programming is required. So without wasting time, if we go directly to the topic one, so that is call by value. So probably you know what is call by value. We have discussed that once at the class of function, if you can remember. So if I go to the blue Java and if I just uh, try to write a example program by which if you can understand what is called by value, if we revise that once again, so it is something. Let me write it quickly. And sorry for directly jumping into that topic, because in these classes, obviously we do not discuss anything else. I do not share any non-technical things and all. So, but yeah, but it is not. I can say it is not an important thing, or it is not an means complicated thing, not important. The word is wrong. It is important, but it is not at all complicated thing. But yeah, when I was in college, I was a student. It was hard for me to understand all this. But if you just think one sentence, if we pass any variable, then the real value will not be changed. If we pass an object and then make some changes, then the value will be changed. So that is one sentence that you need to remember after this class. That's one sentence only. So I'm just giving you some examples. So x equals to 10. And now if I print the value of x, obviously x will be printed as 10, obviously. But in between, if I call a method and if I try to change the value, okay, sorry, I'm writing wrong. Here, if I define something like public static void math, and here, if I take input of x, if we receive x here, and I'm just writing x equals to x plus 1. So now, just give me a minute, why it is giving the error. Okay, I can do one thing quickly. Just let me create a simple class. And here, let me call this. Only void math will be enough. Why? Okay, sorry, it is asking for x. Okay, then I think it is not required at all, but still let it be. So simply x equals to 10, I'm doing. Simply x equals to 10, I'm writing. I'm just passing that value inside the method. And after that, I'm trying to call them out. And here it will give the output as 10, not 11. So I'm just trying to send a value to the function and trying to increase the value. But as an end input, you can see it is not 11, it is 10. So if I go to the program once again, so what I'm doing, the value of x is 10. I'm just passing that value inside the object. And here, inside that method, you can see it is just simply written like x equals to x plus 1. So after doing that, if I try to print the value of X, it is again 10. It is not showing as 11. So that is being called as a call by value. It is similar like, suppose if you receive a phone call and someone wants to know your age, and you shared like, okay, my age is 10 or my age is 30 something. And now if they are doing some manipulations, like if they're adding, means they are doing +1 or they are doing into 10. So obviously if they do it like 30 into 10, and if it makes 300, obviously you do not have anything to do. Nothing will be changed at your end. Your age will still be 30. It will not impact anything on you. If they can do some addition, they can do some multiplication after knowing your age. So it is just a value. It is just a value to them. Okay, so 30 is just a value. 30 is your age. It is just a value. They can do any mathematics on that, but you do not have any impact of that because your age will still be 30. So that is being called as a call by value. So here you are sharing your age or a variable X as a value. Okay, so that's the thing. So if I do something like, let me create a different class. Let me present this example in some other way. Because when we did that in the class of function, we didn't know the class and object thing. So let me do something called class. What can I give a name to this class? Suppose class CLS again. So uh, here, if I define something index, suppose, and here, if I define something like obj.x equals to 10, and now if I pass obj.x, and after that, if I try to print obj.x, means x is the variable of this class. So if I do that, so again, obj.x is 10. I'm passing obj.x itself. Inside that method, x equals to x plus 1, it is doing. And after that, I'm trying to print obj.x. Okay. So why the error is given? Nothing is being shown. Okay, sorry. Here, the class name I have to change. It is CLS now. It is CLS now. Okay. So this is the program. So if I run the program now, it will still show the value 10, not 11. Because we are passing a value, we are passing an integer. So whenever you are passing an integer, you are passing a double, you are passing some numeric value, anything, character, anything. So the value will not be changed because you are sharing the value. You are telling them your age, you are telling them your address or something. Like, okay, I live in suppose a area called Beleghata, say, where I actually live in. So if they change that term, if they change Beleghata to Belghoria or something, anything, so it will not impact you because still you live in Beleghata. So whenever you are sharing some value, if someone changes that, it has no impact. So moreover, if I want to share this thing, this X is actually the local variable. If you are still confused, so you can name it Y as well. So just to confuse you, just to create the situation, just create the topic of this class, I have just to puzzle you, I introduce the variable as X. So now it is just a local variable. It is just a local variable. So now if we print, if you put the variable name something different, that is totally okay. We learned that in our class of function. If you can remember that, if you are following the playlist, we have already done that. So it is just a local variable. And whenever you are writing y equals to y plus 1, so you are changing the value of y. You are not changing the value of x or this x. So you are not changing the value of this x. Okay. So now again, the output is going to be the same. So it is a local variable. So no impact on the original variable. So that is being called as a call by value. So here, this is the thing, real value doesn't change. Obviously, it is just sharing your age or your bank balance. Yeah, you can share your bank balance as well. So this will be just the calling the sharing the value. So quickly, these topics are really easy one. The topic two, the use of this keyword. Most of my friends in my college used to say many things about this keyword, but I never found when this keyword is mandatorily used. Most of the cases I listen like, okay, this keyword is optional. So what is this? So let's explore first. So here, whenever, suppose, okay, let me not receive anything for the time being. Let me delete all this thing. Let it be simple. And let me call myth. Simply, let me call myth, obj.myth. And here inside, I have just told you, like here, if I write anything in text, that will be local. So let me write in text here as well. In text equals to 20, and here in text equals to 10. So now, if I am going to print the value of x, what is going to be printed? X equals to 10 or x equals to 20? Because we have just explored a few minutes back, if you define anything inside the function like this in text, or you can write anything here, so that is going to be the local variable. So now, which value will be printed, the global one or the local one? So that is a confusion. So if you run this program, it is going to print the local one, that is 20. Okay. So you can remember that thing by thinking some small examples. Like, suppose if you have a chief minister of your state, and if you have a prime minister of your country, any country, so whose power will be means more? Obviously, your state chief minister power will be bigger, or it will be greater than the power of the prime minister. So the global one is having less impact, and the local one will be powerful here. So the local variable will be powerful than the global one. So that is the rule. You can imagine in this way. If I say anything about the chief minister in my locality, people will mind and people might beat me up. But if I say for the prime minister, still people will beat me up, but the impact will be less. So something like that you can imagine, and make your topic easy. Just enjoy this topic. Trust me, this is not something hard. You do not need to compete with millions and billions of people. Just learn this and enjoy your life simply. These are very easy topic. Only overall only 20 to 25 classes maximum. And if you learn all this, you will get the marks. You will get the job. So it is really easy. Do not take stress. So whatever you want, you can imagine in it your own way. So I imagine in that way, like in my locality, the chief minister is more powerful than the prime minister or than the president even. So the local leader is more powerful. So x will be 20, x will be printed as 20, x will not be printed as 10. So I imagine in that way. You can choose your example. So now if you want to print the global one, what is the way? You have to write these topics. So here this is mandatory. But trust me, when I asked my friends, when I was really, when I couldn't, um, couldn't understand programming at that time, I never got this answer. If this is optional, why should we use these? But after that, I learned like this is not an optional thing. So here, this is a mandatory keyword. So if you write this dot x, then 10 is going to be printed as an output. So if I show you, previously 20 was being printed, now 10 is being printed, because this always refers to the global variable, not the local one. So sometimes if we do not have the local variable, still we use these dot x. So that was the point of confusion. So I thought, if I print x, then also I am getting the value of this. But if I write this dot x, then also I'm getting the value of the class level variable, the global variable. So why should we use this? So it is here in this example, this is not mandatory. But if you want, You can use this dot x, but if you do not use this, then also it is going to print 10. So this dot x always confirms that it is going to point the class level variable, not the local variable. So we have actually three type of variables as well. In this context, I want to mention that as well. So we have three type of variables. It is being asked in the interview round as well. So the main variable is a class level variable, and another is local variable. And class level variable, we have already learned. We have two type of variable there. One is instance variable. I'm not going to that discussion. Another is static variable. So if you check overall, so we have three type of instance variable and static variable and local variable. So both of them are being part of the class level variable or the global variable, and another one is local variable. So if we do not have any local in our program, then this is optional. But if we have something local variable with a similar name, this is not optional. But here you can confirm, like if you write this dot x, it is going to be point out the variable of that class. Okay, so that's the thing we have to learn. So let me go reverse, because in the topic 3, I'm going to show you the older one. Yeah, here it is. So if I go to topic 2, okay, this is optional most of the cases. It basically points out the class level value. So that I have just shared with you. And it is better to see why it is invented, where it is compulsory to use this. So I have already shared those information. So I hope the idea is clear. It is not that a tough topic, really. And these are really quick topics. So topic 3, call by value and call by reference. So call by value, call by reference, this is an example of call by value. If you pass some variable like obj.x, it is not changing the value. But now, if you pass something called obj.math, and you are passing obj itself, not the integer variable, you are passing the whole object. So if you are passing the whole object, how to receive that you have to learn first. So you can write math2 here, and let me write here void math2. If you are passing an obj.x, x is integer, you can see. That's why you are receiving it inside an integer. You are receiving it by an integer variable. But here, obj is a type of CLS. Obj is a type of class. So we introduce CLS obj like the same way we introduce int x. That is why x is integer, and you receive that by an integer variable here inside the function. So obj is a type of CLS. So here, if you are sending something, we can receive it using CLS. So CLS, anything you can write, CLS O, CLS OB, CLS A, anything. So without creating confusion, I'm just receiving it inside CLS OB. So the whole object is being received inside math2. So now if you do something like ob.x equals to ob.x plus 1, so if you are changing something here, then it will be permanent. So after that, if I just print obj.x, the value will become 11. So first, let's explore. I do not want to spend more time on this part, because until I give some example to you, these things is not going to be clear. So I'm just trying to go fast with the examples actually. So 11 you can see. So you can see both the methods. So here this was call by value when I was sending some integer variable. So the actual variable was not going to change. And here it is going to be call by reference. It is an important question. So here we are passing the object. So it is the rule of Java. If you pass the object as a whole, and then if you make some changes, that change is going to be the permanent one. So here you are passing the full object. We are receiving it inside a variable. The variable is the class level body variable. Obviously, object is a type of class. We are receiving it as a whole. And after that, if whenever we are changing something, that change is going to be final change. So it is something like, if you imagine, if uh, you are speaking over a phone call, and if someone is asking like, okay, what is your age, you are sharing like, okay, my age is 30. If someone is asking like, what is your address, you are selling it Belekata. Anyone is asking like, okay, what is your bank balance, I'm saying 50,000. So now if anyone saying like, what is your actual bank account number and password, and if you are giving that full account details, bank account is an object we have learned in our first theory class number 11 as a whole. So if you are sharing the full object, the full bank account details, then obviously they are going to they can do a robbery, they can take your money, they can spend your money, because they are going to have the user ID, password, everything. So you cannot share your full account details. You can share some values. You can share your name. You can share your balance. You can say like, okay, I have 50,000 bucks in my bank. That you can share, but you cannot share the whole account. If you are sharing the whole account, then they are going to make some changes that will impact you, and that will be some permanent changes. It will not just changing it is not a call by value. It is going to be the call by reference, because you are giving them all the references. So in call by value, as a summary, real variable value doesn't change. Call by reference, real variable value change. And that is two sentences that you need to remember after the class ends as well. So that is the gist of this class. That is the summary. So I know still the things are not properly clear. So that's why I choose to create some multiple objects I want to create and want to play with that. Okay. So nothing more, nothing new topic. So I just want to play with this. So here, let me delete the call by value, because I think call by value is clear. Just we are passing some integers. So passing integer is not a tough thing. So here, let me delete all this thing. Let me create two objects of this class. First one is class obj1 and the second one is class obj2. So obj1.x is 10 and here obj2.x equals to 20. We are taking two variables of two different objects. So now here, if we simply write obj1.math, say. So what is going to be printed? You have to tell. So let me delete everything. So I'm just going to print system.out.println. It is the old program. It is nothing related with this class. If I'm going to print X, only I'm going to print X. So with obj.1, or you can find a similarity if I make it a bank class, I guess. Then you can find a similarity, void, suppose balance inquiry or something. Okay, so now probably you are going to some relation with our first class, bank obj1, or bank some person, new bank. So I'm creating it as a bank. And here X, or let it be B, or let it be X, it's the same thing. So here, if I run, obviously you are going to see the, okay, let it be balance inquiry, otherwise it will give error. Okay, so it is the same thing, like you have a balance inquiry. Okay, let it make B for balance. So let it make everything as our bank class. So now, if I, okay, so it is something looks like bank program. You have a balance, you are inquiring your balance inquiry, or you are printing your value. So if obj1 check the balance, he or she will get 10. If obj2 check the balance, he or she will get 20. Say something similar to that. If I run. So always we will refer to our first class where we have learned first time the class and object. So this idea is clear, I guess. So now the confusion arises when inside obj1, suppose I'm passing obj2. Just I'm trying to discuss more about object passing. We are not learning any new topics, but we have given a header like topic 4 just to discuss them again. So I'm passing obj2 here. Obviously, then we have to receive obj2 here. Obj2 is a type of bank, you can see. So here we are going to receive obj2 as ob or o anything. We are receiving obj2 inside ob. So now if I run, people are confused at that time if we run this program. But still, it should print 10 because we are inside obj1 dot balance and query. In a simple logic, in the previous run, you didn't have any confusion at that time. You are so sure that obj1 dot balance inquiry is going to print 10 and obj2 dot balance inquiry is going to print 20. You didn't have any doubt at that time. When we are passing obj2, you shouldn't have doubt now again, because we are still printing the variable b, and the variable b refers to this one, and it is going to print 10 again. So if I run, you can see, because I am not printing any new thing, it was the old print statement, so it should print obj1 dot balance and query should print the 10. Sometimes people is having some doubts, that's why they use this dot b. This refers like print the b of this class, print the b of this instance variable. So obj1 is calling, so please print the this version of balance, means obj1's balance. So if you have confusion, but in these cases this is optional, but still people use the keyword this just to be clarified with themselves. So they want to be sure, like, okay, we are going to print 10, the balance of obj1 itself, we are not going to print the balance of obj2. So if you do not write even, it is going to print the balance of obj1. But now if you are going to print the balance of obj2, because we have the obj2 as well in form of ob, then you can write some statement like this. You can simply write ob.b, because obj2 is present here in form of ob. So if you write ob.b, then you are going to see 20, because you are receiving another object. So inside one object, you are going to receive another object. So that is being called as an object passing. I will give more example, don't worry, until this object passing will be clear. So it is not a new topic, I'm just trying to discuss more. So if you just simply, obj1 is calling function, balance inquiry is the method name, and you are passing obj2 into that. So inside the balance inquiry, it is a property of obj1. So if you are going to print b variable only, you are going to see 10, because it is the property of obj1. You are inside obj1, and obj2 has been passed. So obj2 is being received by as a ob, the name ob. So if you print ob.b, you are going to see 20. So that is the normal idea, and that I have tried to discuss here with topic 4. Okay, so now you can pass multiple objects like this. Passing objects can be multiple, but these will always refer to the calling object. So here the calling object is obj1, and now you can pass as many as object you can, obj3, anything, but I'm not going into that direction. If you want, you can create several objects and you can pass it. Okay, so that's the thing. Okay, so let me discuss more about that. If I can create some real-time examples, like suppose if we try to create a point class. So point class is something. Let me create a class like point. So class point something like this. Okay, let it be point demo. And always remember, before creating the class, first try to understand how people are going to use that, how people are going to be feel easy with those classes. What we do generally, what mistakes we do generally, these are very sensitive topics, sensitive in the sense of like, uh, if you take this as a theory, you cannot understand this. If you take this as a passion, like, okay, we really want to understand what Java works. So then you will be able to understand. So here, what people do generally, the mistake, they design the class point. Point means the decimal point. In your school days, you have learned, like in class 8 or 9, or some in your school days, the x coordinate, what y coordinate. In a graph, you define x and y. The points 0 0 means origin, if you can remember. I don't know, I was not that good in mathematics, but the x axis and the y-axis, you have two coordinates for each point, if you can remember. And you can define a point like this. The value of x is 5, the value of y is 4, something like that. So we just want to deal with those points. So at the time of dealing with those points, obviously, first you have to think from the user's perspective. You do not you cannot first design your point and you cannot impose that into the user, like, okay, use it in this way. No, first think from the user perspective. User wants this class to be designed as something like this. So they do not, first thing, they do not know what is class, they do not know what is object, what is the programming. So they prefer something like this. Point P1, new point. Suppose I want to create a point like 5, 4. X axis is 5. X coordinate, probably I forgot the mathematical terms, and 4 is the y coordinate. So it will be that simple. And obviously, after that, we have to design accordingly. But first, think like user's perspective. Then we will write the code accordingly. We can do anything. So again, another is 3 comma 2, point 2. So something like that. So if we write this thing, a point will be created. And trust me, there is no such classes. Probably, I didn't check everything, but trust me, I have not found anything like this point class. And it is going to be very useful if we can create that. So what I'm trying to say, so now if anyone prints, or if anyone do like p1.display, they can see the details of that point, or p2.display. If anyone wants to print something like p1 dot distance from, so it is not a easy mathematics. You have to put some mathematical formula, probably root over x1 minus x2 whole square, plus y1 minus y2 whole square. Some a mathematical rule was there. Okay, let me remember that later. But for the time being, people wants to get the distance between p1 and p2. So something like that they want to explore. If we go to the slide, so some of its features or some of its methods are display, distance from. We want to explore, okay, distance from origin. Okay, that we can do. Origin means the point 0 0. If you have done the mathematics, I believe you are better than me, at least in mathematics, because I have done it a long ago in my school. But still, distance from origin means distance from the point 0 0. So if we can create something like that, it will be very helpful. Get x. Get x means the coordinate of x. Suppose they want to explore. So let me write p1 dot get x. Let me write something p1 dot get y. And what else? Get quadrant. Okay, in which quadrant it is falling. We have done this task in our nested if exercise. If you are following the playlist, you can probably understand. If you can probably remember that task. Quadrant, again, the tough terms. Quadrant, yeah, I have written it correctly. What else? Is origin. So if a point is an origin or if it is not, obviously both of them are not origin. To be an origin, you have to have the x coordinate as 0 0 and y x coordinate as 0, y coordinate as 0. So something like that is origin. P1 dot is origin. So it should print true or false. And last one is equals. So you can compare as well that 2 points are equal or not. Let me make it aligned. Okay, just give me a minute. So P1 dot equals P2. So these are the function user will choice first. User will select this type of thing. So always you have to first create the design. You cannot jump into the code first ask user how you want to see your point class, because generally point class doesn't exist. You have to create everything. So user has given you this long list. It will be great if you can create a point class for me, user is saying. So now we have to build accordingly. It is not like we will program it first, then we will give it to the user. Then user may like or may not like that. But first take the user's opinion, because user cannot see the program. User can only see an abstract version. So user will just going to use that functions and their use the class objects and their methods. So it is better to ask them first. So after giving a design, or after giving an means choice, then we can start our programming. So in the point class, obviously we are going to have two variables like x and y simply. And after that we are going to define a constructor. If anyone doesn't put anything, suppose if anyone is defining point P3 and with nothing, so it is going to be treated as origin. So we can write x equals to 0, the y equals to 0 here. But if anyone is providing some inputs like the P1 and P2, those 2 points, we can take the input. At least we can do those things now, because we have learned many. We have already done some theoretical classes earlier. So we know how to define constructor and everything. So I have defined something like this. So point classes, fine. Now display. In display, we can write something they want to see in this format. I mean, suppose 5, 4, they want to see the point in this format. In mathematics as well, we used to get the values in this way. So here as well, I'm trying to print in the similar pattern. So system.out.println. So I can write something with bracket, with quotes, a bracket, plus x, then plus inside the quotes again a comma. So just you can try to play with that, nothing complicated, because in interview round they are anyhow going to ask some theoretical question. But it is good to learn everything in and out. So if you do not have any interest, if you cannot generate any interest these uh, on these Java topics, it will be tough for you to carry on this type of job for your rest of the life. So that's why I'm trying to make it more convenient to you, more understandable to you. It is not like getting some likes, getting some comments. If you really are benefited with that, because I suffered a lot actually in my college time. I didn't get these topics correctly. Internet was not there. I couldn't ask anything back. So that's the problem I face. So I want, if you are really getting help out of these classes, then it is okay. And that's why I'm trying to uh, elaborate everything. So we will not going to learn any more things now. We will just explore how to pass the object. So here, whenever I'm writing this one, P1 dot distance from P2, we are basically, obviously, all these functions are being called from inside P1 dot display, P1 dot get x. But here in this one, we are passing the point to object as well. So here we have to write something point, suppose P, point P. So we have two versions of x and y. The normal x and y will refer to the P1 dot x and P1 dot y, and P2 is being present inside this function as P. So we can write something int distance equal to int. So what was the rule I forgot? Math dot square root probably, and math dot pow. I'm trying to remember the tough mathematical thing. So it was x minus p dot x. So this x is the 0.1 x, and this x is 0.2's x. So something like that I'm trying to build. So x minus x1 minus x2 whole square plus math.pow. So it is a tough mathematical rule, nothing to deal with this object passing class. But I'm trying to focus on this part. Do not focus on math.pow, math.square root. Just focus on this part. Y is coming from point 1 and p dot y is coming from point 2 because we have passed point 2 inside point 1. You can see point 1 and here point 2. Point 1 is the calling function and we have passed point 2 here as a parameter of this function. So that you want to focus. That's all. You do not need to focus on other unnecessary mathematical rules. We do not, I do not want to focus you on that part. So that's the thing. And after that, I will return this distance, that variable. And that's all. That's all actually. So a distance from origin, it is the easier one. So I can simply write distance from origin. You do not need to pass anything here. You do not need to pass anything. It is a blank because there will be no second point. So you are just deleting it minus 0. Origin means 0, 0. So the second point will be 0, 0. That's all. That's all. What else? We have get x and get y. Okay, it is very simple. Int get x. I'll be just writing return x, the value of x. Int get y, just return the value of t. So you can create a function like this. Whatever you are thinking is going to be making tough, you can create a class for that. What else? Get quadrant. So it is going to be the long one. Int get quadrant. I have to remember the code we have written in nested if class, the class number 2. So I forgot. If x greater than 0 and if y greater than 0, then we are in the first quadrant. Again, it is purely mathematical. If I do some mistakes, do not mind. I'm just doing it very quickly because my intention is not to solve this kind of program today. So x is positive, y is negative, probably quadrant 4, probably, if I'm not wrong. Else means if x is negative and y is positive, then it is probably 3. And if both are negative, then no, I'm doing some mistakes. It is 2 and 3. Do not need to understand that. So it is a mathematical thing. And if you are understanding that, it is fine. But if you are not understanding, do not need to be focused on that. It is a mathematical rule. Quadrants. Okay. So anyway, is origin that if we want to explore, so Boolean is origin. So obviously it will be origin if x equals to 0 and then y equals to 0, you can return true. Else you can return false. So that's the thing. If both are 0, then you can say it is an origin, otherwise not. The same thing, the last one is equals. P1 equals P2. Again, P1 is the calling function and we are passing another object P2 inside that. So another good example now for this class, because we are learning only one thing, object passing. It is a good example. So here I'm again receiving point P. So P2 is coming as P. And here I'm just going to compare if x equals to p dot x and y equals to p dot y, then I can say both the points are equal. Otherwise, I will say no, both the points are not equal. So something like that. If I compile and if I run, so I have created all the point functions as per user requirement, as users required at that time. So you can see these are 2 points. So after that, what was there? I forgot the points. After that, what they did? The distance between P1 and P2. You can see the distance between P1 and P2 is 2 unit. After that, distance from origin of the first point, it is 6. So something like that. The x coordinate and the y coordinate of the point P1 was 5 and 4. You can see 5 and 4. After that gate quadrant, it is in the first quadrant because both x and y are uh, positive. So is it an origin? Point 1 is an origin? No. Point 1 and point 2 are equal? No, again. So it is false. So we have successfully designed the full program of the point class. So do not focus on those logics initially. Just focus how user wants it. What is the user requirement? So whatever you can think, whatever tough things you can imagine, you can create a class for your user. User do not need to know what is written inside. They are just going to use that. So that is the purpose. So all those 5 topics are discussed, but still I will take some time to give you some exercise. So you can create a class for complex number. So complex number, if you can remember, it was learned again in our school days, something like 5 plus I7. Or if you can remember some classes, it was structure was x plus iy. Some structure was there. So you can define a complex number something like this. Complex C1 equals to new complex 5, 7. So 5 part is the real part and 7 part is imaginary. Again, these are mathematical terms. I'm not going to uh, understand that much seriously, but you can create a class for complex number. So it might have some display function, which will display the values as like this. People will think, okay, we are using complex number. They should have an impression like, okay, we are finally using the complex number, something like that. You can add 2 complex number. You can multiply 2 complex numbers. You can pass second complex number as an object. You can get the real part, I mean the 5. You can get the imaginary part, that is the 7. So it is something like get x, get y. You can create that. You can compare 2 complex number if they are equal or not. And I guess that's all. So it is a part of exercise 1. But if you are weak in mathematics like me, then you can probably refer to another example, another exercise. That is, you can refer to all the ISC object passing questions. I can give you some examples here. So let me open the one example. Just give me some time. So if we go to our group, all the details of this group and everything will be provided in the details section of this class. So if we go to this group and if you go to this album, ISC theory previous year's question. Okay, if I go to some questions. So let me find it out. Okay, it is generally in section B. So if I go to the slide, it is generally in section B in the ISC previous year's question, and it is section B. If I go to here, so yeah, this type of question you can have. Okay, just give me a minute. Yeah, this type of section B. Yeah, so where you can see something like this. The class name is EQMAT, something I don't know what it is asking, and you are passing EQMAT, something like that. So class name as a parameter. So whenever you see that, that means you are able to understand it is trying to say pass the object. So if I just do it quickly for the people like me who are not that good in mathematics, so if I do this program for them, so the name I can give Equimat demo or Equimat only, say. So if I write class, whatever they have written, we have to solve that Equimat. I don't know the meaning of Equimat as of now. So class Equimat, okay, I have given to store integer elements. So they are referring to some matrix. I have not read the full program. Trust me. So int A, they are asking for, let me create that, new int. Okay, something like this. And after that, int M and int N. Okay, int M and int N. Okay, fine. So after that, they are saying Equimat a parameterized constructor to initialize the data member m equals to mm and n equals to nn. Okay, something similar we have done just few minutes back. Int mm, int nn, and we are going to assign those value inside m equals to mm, n equals to nn. And okay, I can do another thing we have learned in last class. If you are seriously learning all this gradually and seriously, if you are learning, you can understand we are learning everything gradually. So we have learned this part, how to define some array or some matrix into two parts to make it working. So we have already did this in our last class. So I am also trying to arrange all these things gradually so that you will not feel something like I felt when I was in college. Like, okay, I couldn't understand many things because in those learning materials, people are not going gradually. They are showing something suddenly. But I'm trying to maintain that pattern actually, so that you cannot face anything that you do not know, you have not learned in the earlier classes. So that I'm trying to maintain. So here, the next one is read array, and they are asking to take some input. So obviously for the input, I have to take scanner class weekly because I'm not interested to these matrix programs. Once again, we have done a lot in our logical programming part. I'm not interested to these for loops to write these for loops again. So I'm just typing it very quickly. So that's the thing. Aij equals to sc dot next. So I'm not going to run the program even. Just I'm writing the program for you to get the structure. You can run it by yourself because logical part is no more important for this class. Int check, int check function is saying check if the parameterized object P and Q equal, returns 1 if true, otherwise return 0. So I'm going to, this is the function that we are targeting. So int check, now we are receiving two objects, eqmat P, eqmat Q. Eqmat P is in small, no, P is in cap, and eqmat Q. So now if they are same, then we are going to return 1, otherwise return 0. So obviously our old programs, we have solved many programs like this, f equals to 1, and then start comparing. If aij equals to, not aij, sorry, if p dot aij equals to q dot aij, or not equals to, if they are not equals to, then I'm going to mark f equals to 0. So if p dot aqij not equals to q dot aij, then f equals to 0. That's all. That's all, and at the end return it. Okay, and here m will be coming from either p or q. And initially, if p dot m not equals to q dot m, if their size is not matching, then we can simply say they are not equal. Or p dot n not equals to q dot n. I'm writing slowly here because then f equals to 0. If initially the sizes are not matching, then we can simply say f equals to 0. They are not matched. Otherwise, if the size matches, then I will check all the elements one by one. If one is different, any one values are different between these two matrices, I will write f equals to 0 and return it. And that's all. And at the end, void print, display the array elements. Okay, fine. So let me copy this one. It will be easier for me. So this is the solution of this question. So basically, this question is for class 11, 12 high school students. So you can simply refer to this. Okay, so it is the easy programs. You can understand if a schoolboy can do that. we also can do that. Obviously, we are learning it for the first time. It might take 1 year to learn this for the school boys, but for us, yeah, we can learn it at least by 1 month. So, yeah, that's the thing. After learning 1 month, this program is really easy. You are just printing some elements, you are taking input some elements. You do not need to give anything p dot or something, because the object will always refer to its own data members, so you do not need to mention anything. But the confusion will be created if you pass multiple objects inside a function. So at that time, you have to refer to object p dot something. Always you have to refer in that. And that is the learning of this class. We have learned just one topic. If you pass the object, it is going to be a permanent change. And if you pass the object, you have to refer to that, the value by which you have received the object. So here we have referred like p dot, q dot, something like that. Okay. So that's the thing. If you have any confusions, anything, you can tell me. So this is exercise 2. If you do that, it will be helpful for you to understand everything. So all the links will be provided in the detail section of this class. But still, if you have any doubt, anything, I have tried my best actually. But still, if you have anything, obviously these classes are not interactive. You cannot say anything in the class. It is a recorded class. But still, if you have any problem, just let me know. I will try to help you as much as I can. Okay, so all the best.